Let me start again from the beginning. So you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So starting again from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, a description of the island of Jambudvipa. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Kim Purushe Varshe Bhagavantam Adi Purusham Lakshmanagrajam Sita Bhiramam Ramam Tacharana Sannikarshabhiratam Ratah Parama Bhagavato Hanuman Saha Kimpurushair Avirata Bhaktir Upaste. Shri Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, in Kimpurusha Varsha, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with the inhabitants of that land in devotional service to Lord Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana and dear husband of Sita Devi. Arstisenena saha gandharvair anugiyamanam parama kalyanim bhartir bhagavat katham samupastrinoti swayam chedam gayati. Oh, a host of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Lord Ramachandra. That chanting is always extremely auspicious. Hanumanji and Arshtisena, the chief person in Kimpursha constantly hears those glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras. ॐ नमो भगवते उत्तमश्लोकाय नम आर्यलक्षणशीलवर्ताय नम उपशिक्षितात्मन उपासितलोकाय नमः साधुवाद निकर्षणाय नमो ब्रह्मण्यदेवाय महापुरुषाय महाराजाय नम इति. Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija mantra Omkara. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Your lordship is the reservoir of all the good qualities of Aryans, people who are advanced. Your character and behavior are always consistent and you always control your senses and mind. Acting just like an ordinary human being, you exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There is a touchstone that can be used to examine the quality of gold, but you are like a touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by Brahmanas who are the foremost of all devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the King of kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. यत्तद्विशुद्धानुभवमात्रमेकं स्वतेजसादष्टगुणव्यवस्थं प्रत्यक्प्रशान्तं सुधियोपलम्भनं हि अनामरूपं निरहं प्रपद्ये. The Lord, whose pure form, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, can be perceived by pure consciousness. In the Vedanta, he is described as being one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he is untouched by the contamination of material nature. And because he is not subjected to material vision, he is known as transcendental. He has no material activities, nor has he a material form or name. Only in pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, can one perceive the transcendental form of the Lord. Let us be firmly fixed at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra and let us offer our respectful obeisances unto those transcendental lotus feet. मत्यावतारस्त्व इह मर्त्यशिक्षणं रक्षोवधायैव न केवलं विभोः कुतोऽन्यथा स्याद्रमतः स्वात्मनः सीताकृतानि व्यसनानीश्वरस्य. It was ordained that Ravana, the chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man. And for this reason, Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramachandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravana, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is the cause of many miseries. He is the self sufficient, supreme personality of Godhead, and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by kidnapping of Mother Sita? Navaisa Atma न वै स आत्मा आत्मवतां सुहृत्तमः शक्तस्त्रिलोक्यां भगवान् वासुदेवः न स्त्रीकृतं कश्मलम् अश्नुवीत न लक्ष्मणं चापि विहातुम् अर्हति. Since Lord Sri Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences, therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he be, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshmana, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. न जन्म नूनं महतो न सौभगं न वान्न बुद्धिर्नाकृतिस्तोषहेतुः तैर्याविसृस्तान् अपि नो वनौकसश्चकार सख्ये चकार सख्ये बत लक्ष्मणाग्रजः. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends? सुरो सुरो वापि अथ वानरो नरः सर्वात्मनाय सुकृतज्ञम् उत्तमं भजेत रामं मनुजाकृतिं हरिं य उत्तरान् अनयत् कोशलान् दिवम् इति. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Sri Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikuntha. भारतेऽपि वर्षे भगवान् नरनारायणाख्या आकल्पान्तम् उपचितधर्मज्ञान वैराग्यैश्वर्योपशमपरमात्मनोपलम्बनम् अनुग्रहायात्मवाताम् अनुकम्पया तपो व्यक्तगतिः चरति. Shukadeva Goswami continued, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are inconceivable. He has appeared in the form of Naranarayana in the land of Bharatavarsha at the place called Badarika Ashrama to favor his devotees by teaching them religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, and freedom from false ego. He is advanced in the opulence of spiritual assets and he engages in executing austerity until the end of this millennium. This is the process of self realization. तं भगवान् नारदो वर्णाश्रमवतीभिर्भारत भारतीभिः प्रजाभिर्भगवत्प्रोक्ताभ्यां साङ्ख्ययोगाभ्यां भगवद् अनुभावनो अनुभावोपवर्णनं सावर्णेर् परमभक्ति भावेनोपसरति इदं चाभिगृह्णाति. In his own book known as Narada Pancharatra, Bhagavan Narada has very vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, devotion, through knowledge and through execution of mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord. the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Narada instructed the tenets of this transcendental literature to Savarni Manu in order to teach those inhabitants of Bharatavarsha who strictly follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, Narada Muni, along with other inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, always engages in the service of Naranarayana and he chants as follows. ॐ नमो भगवते उपसमशीलयो परमा शीलयो परतानात्मय नमो किञ्चन वित्ताय ऋषिर्षभाय नरनारायणाय परमहंस परमगुरवे आत्मा रामाधिपतये नमो नम इति. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Naranarayana, the best of all saintly persons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the most self controlled and self realized. He is free from false prestige and he is the asset of persons who have no material possessions. He is the spiritual master of all Paramahamsas who are the most exalted human beings, and he is the master of the self realized. Let me offer my repeated obeisances at his lotus feet. गायति चेदं कर्ता कर्तास्य सर् सर्ग sorry गायचित् चेदं कर्तास्य सर्गादिषु यो न बन्ध्यते न हन्यते देहगतोऽपि दैहिकैः द्रष्टुर्न दृग् यस्य गुणैर्विदुष्यते तस्मै नमोऽसक्त विविक्तसाक्षिणे. Narada, the most powerful saintly sage, also worships Naranarayan by chanting the following mantra. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this visible cosmic manifestation. Yet he is completely free from false prestige. Although to the foolish he appears to have accepted a material body like us, he is unaffected by bodily tribulations like hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Although he is the witness who sees everything, his senses are unpolluted by the objects he sees. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that unattached, pure witness of the world, the Supreme Soul, the Personality of Godhead. इदं हि योगेश्वरयोगनैपुणं हिरण्यगर्भो भगवान् जगादयत् यत् अन्तकाले त्वयि निर्गुणे मनो भक्त्या ददीतोज्झित दुष्कलेवरः. O my Lord, Master of all mystic yoga, this is the explanation of the yogic process spoken by Lord Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, who is self realized. At the time of death, all yogis give up the material body with full detachment simply by placing their minds at your lotus feet. That is the perfection of yoga. यतैः कामोऽस्मिककामलम्पटः सुतेषु दारेषु धनेषु चिन्तयन् सङ्केतविद्वान् कुकलेवरात्ययाद् यस्तस्य यत्नः श्रम एव केवलम्. Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in the future. Therefore, they are always absorbed in thoughts of their wives, children, and wealth and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which are full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of his having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time. Tannah prabhotvam kukalevararpitam tvanmayayapa sorry तन्नः प्रभोत्वं कुकलेवरार्पितां त्वन्माययाहं ममताम् अधोक्ष च विन्द्यां येनाशु वयं सुदुर्भिदां विदेहि योगं त्वयि नः स्वभावम् इति. Therefore, O Lord, O Transcendence, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute Bhakti Yoga so that we can control our restless minds and fix them upon you. You are all infected by sorry, we are all infected by your illusory energy. Therefore, we are very attached to the body, which is full of stool and urine, and to anything related with the body. Except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Therefore, kindly bestow upon this benediction. Okay. भारे भारतेऽपि अस्मिन् वर्षे सरिच्छैला सन्ति सन्ति बहवो मलयो मङ्गलपृष्ठो मैनाकस् त्रिकूट ऋषभः कूटकः कोल्लकः सहयो देवगिरिर्ऋष्यमुखः श्रीशैलो वेङ्कटो महेन्द्रो वारिधारो विन्ध्या सुक्तिमान् वृक्षगिरिः पारियात्रो द्रोणश्चित्रकूटो गोवर्धनो रैवतः ककुभो नीलो गोकामुख इन्द्रकिला कामगिरिर् इति चान्ये च शतसहस्रशः शैलस्तेषां नितम्बा प्रभवा नदा नद्या च सन्त्या असङ्ख्याताः. In the tract of land known as Bharatavarsha, as in Ilavrita there are many mountains and rivers. Some of the mountains are known as Malaya, Mangala Prastha, Mainaka, Trikuta, Rishabha, Kutaka, Kollaka, Sahya, Devagiri, Rishimukha, Srishaila, Venkata, Mahendra, Varidhara, Vindhya, Suktimana, Rikshagiri, Pariyatra, द्रोण चित्रकूट गोवर्धन रैवतकः ककुभ नील गोकामुख इंद्राकिल and Kamagiri. Besides these, there are many other hills with many large and small rivers flowing from their slopes. एतासाम् अपो भारत्य प्रजानामभिरेव पुनन्तीनाम् आत्मा न चोपर्षन्ति चन्द्रवशा ताम्रपर्णी अवटोद कृतमाला वैहायासि कावेरी वेणी पयस्विनी सर्करावर्ता तुङ्गभद्रा कृष्णवेण्या भीमरथी गोदावरी निर्विन्द्या पयोष्णी तापी रेवा सुरसा नर्मदा चर्मन्वती सिन्धुर् सोनश्च नदौ महानदी वेदस्मृतिर्ऋषिकुल्या त्रिशामा कौशिकी मन्दाकिनी यमुना सरस्वती दृषद्वती गोमती सरयू रोदस्वती सप्तवती सुषोमा शतदृश चंद्रभागा मरुद्वृद्धा मरुद्वृद्धा वितस्ता असिक्नी विश्वेति महानद्यः. Two of the rivers, the Brahmaputra and the Shona, are called Nadas or main rivers. These are other great rivers that are very prominent. Chandravasha, Tamraparni, Avatoda, Kritamala, Vaihayasi, Kaveri, Veni, Payaswini, Sarkaravarta, Tungabhadra, Krishnavenya, Bhimarati, Godavari, Nirvindya, Payoshni, Tapi, Reva, Surasa, Narmada, Charmanvati, Mahanadi, Veda Smriti, ऋषिकुल्या त्रिशामा कौशिकी मंदाकिनी यमुना सरस्वती दृषद्वती गोमती सरसु रोदस्वती सप्तवती सो सुसोमा शतध्रु चंद्रभागा मरुद्वृदा विटस्ता असिक्नी and Vishwa. The inhabitants of Bharatavarsha are purified because they always remember these rivers. Sometimes they chant the names of these rivers as mantras, and sometimes they go directly to the rivers to touch them and bathe in them. Thus, the inhabitants of Bharatavarsha become purified. Mm. Okay. अस्मिन् एव वर्षे पुरुषे लब्धा जन्मभिः शुक्ललोहिता कृष्णवर्णेन स्वार स्वारब्धेन कर्मणा दिव्यमानुष नारका गतयो बह्व आत्मना आनुपूर्येण सर्वा हि एव सर्वेषां विधीयन्ते यथा वर्णविधानम् अपवर्गश्चापि भवति. The people who take birth in this tract of land are divided according to the qualities of material nature, the modes of goodness, sattva guna, passion, rajoguna, and ignorance, tamoguna. Some of them are born as exalted personalities, some are ordinary human beings, and some are extremely abominable. For in Bharatavarsha, one takes birth exactly according to one's past karma. If one's position is ascertained by a bona fide spiritual master and one is properly trained to engage in the service of Lord Vishnu according to the four social divisions Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the four spiritual divisions Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, one's life becomes perfect. Yoso Bhagavati Sarva Bhuta Atmani अनात्मनि निरुक्ते अनिलये sorry अनिलयाने परमात्मनि वासुदेवे अनन्य निमित्त भक्ति योग लक्षणो नानागति निमित्ता विद्या ग्रंथि रंधन द्वारेण यदा हि महापुरुष पुरुष प्रसंगः. After many, many births, when the results of one's pious activities mature, one gets an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. Then one is able to cut the knot of bondage to ignorance, which bound him because of varied fruitive activities. As a result of associating with devotees, one gradually renders service to Lord Vasudeva, who is transcendental, free from attachment to the material world, beyond the mind and words, and independent of everything else. That bhakti yoga, devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, is the path of real path of liberation. Etad eva hi deva gayanti aho amisham kim akari shobhanam prasanna yesham sviduta swayam harihi yair janma labdha nushu bharata jire mukunda sevo paikam spruhahi naha. Since the human form of life is a sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in heaven speak in this way. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatavarsha. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself must have been pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human birth in Bharatavarsha to execute devotional service, but these human beings are already engaged there. किं दुष्करैर्न क्रतुभिस्तपोवृतैर्दानादिभिर्वा द्युजत्येन फल्गुणा न यत्र नारायणपादपङ्कज स्मृतिर्प्रमुष्टातिशयेन्द्रियोत्सवात्. The demigods continue. After performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows, and giving charity, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of the heavenly planets. But what is the value of this achievement? Here we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten his lotus feet. Kalpayusham sthana jayat punarbhavat Kshanayusham Bharata Bhuja Yovaram Kshanena Matyena Kritah Manasvinaha Sanyasya Samyanti Abhayam Padam Harehe. A short life in the land of Bharatavarsha is preferable to a life achieved in Brahmaloka for millions and billions of years, because even if one is elevated to Brahmaloka, he must return to repeated birth and death. Although life in Bharatavarsha in a lower planetary system is very short, one who lives there can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection, even in this short life, by fully surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus, one attains Vaikuntha Loka, where there is neither anxiety nor repeated birth in a material body. न यत्र वैकुण्ठकथा सुधापागा न साधवो भागवतास्तदाश्रया न यत्र यज्ञेशमखा महोत्सवा सुरेशलोकोऽपि न वै स सेव्यताम्. An intelligent person does not take interest in a place even in the topmost planetary system if the pure Ganges of topics concerning the Supreme Lord's activities does not flow there. If there are not devotees engaged in service on the banks of such river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtana Yajna to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtana Yajna is recommended in this age. प्राप्तानुजातिं त्वइह ये च जन्तवो याना क्रियाद्रव्यकलापसम्भृतात् न वै यतेरन् अपुरन् sorry. प्राप्तानुजातिं त्वह्यये च जन्तवो ज्ञानक्रियाद्रव्यकलापसंहृतां न वै यतेरन् अपुनर्भवायते भूयो वनौका इव यान्ति बन्धनम्. Bharatavarsha offers the proper land and circumstances in which to execute devotional service, which can free one from the results of jnana and karma. If one obtains a human body in the land of Bharatavarsha with clear sensory organs with which to execute the Sankirtana Yajna, but in spite of this opportunity he does not take to devotional service, he is certainly like liberated forest animals and birds that are careless and are therefore again bound by a hunter. यै श्रद्धया बर्हिषि भागसो हविर्निरुक्तमिष्टं विधिमन्त्र वस्तुतः एकः प्रतन्नामभिराहुतो मुदा गृह्णाति पूर्ण स्वयमाशिषां प्रभुः. In India, Bharatavarsha, there are many worshippers of demigods. The various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, and Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers offer the demigods their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshippers to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. Satyam disati arhati artitam artito nृणां नैवातदो यत् पुनरर्तितः यतः स्वयं विधते स्वयं विधत्ते भजताम अनिच्छताम इच्छापदानम निजपाद पल्लवम. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motives, but he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. यद्यत्र न सुखावशेषितं स्विष्टस्य सूक्तस्य कृतस्य शोभनं तेनाजनाभे स्मृतिमज्जन्म न स्याद् वर्षे हरिर्यद् भजतां सं तनोति. We are now living in the heavenly planets undoubtedly as a result of our having performed ritualistic ceremonies, pious activities, and yajnas, and having studied the Vedas. However, our lives here will one day be finished. We pray that at that time, if our merit remains, From our pious activities, we may again take birth in Bharatavarsha as human beings, able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord is so kind that He personally comes to the land of Bharatavarsha and expands the good fortune of its people. श्रीसुक उवाच जम्बूद्वीपस्य च राजन् उपद्वीपान् अष्टौ हैक उपदिशन्ति सगरात्मजैरश्वान्वेषण इमां महीं परितो निखन् निखनब्धिर् निखनब्धिर् उपकल्पितान् तद् यथा स्वर्णपृष्ठचन्द्रशुक्ल आवर्तनो रमणको मन्दर हरिणः पाञ्चजन्य सिंहलो लङ्केति. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, in the opinion of some learned scholars, 8 smaller islands surround Jambudvipa. When the sons of Maharaja Sagara were searching all over the world for their lost horse, they dug up the earth, and in this way 8 adjoining islands came into existence. The names of these islands are Swarna Prastha, Chandra Shukla, Avartana, Ramanaka, Mandara Harina, Panchajanya, Simhala and Lanka. Evam tava bharatottama Jambudvipa Vibhago Yatopadesham Upavarnita iti. My dear King Parikshit, O best of the descendants of Bharata Maharaj, I have thus described to you, as I myself have been instructed, the island of Bharatavarsha and its adjoining island. These are the islands that constitute Jambudvipa. Hare Krishna. We haven't gone through the purports. Maybe next week we will briefly summarize the prayers offered by Hanumanji to Lord Ramachandra. Hmm? And then the prayers offered by hmm, the descendants of the Naranarayana Rishi, who were worshipping him there. And then the good fortune of the human beings in the who are born in the Bharatavarsha, and yeah, then we proceed further. Yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are no questions or thoughts, yeah, we can close the day. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. जय गौर प्रेमानंदे.